this is a very candid conversation. We just want to make sure that everything that we're doing today has some type of continuing effect and some follow-up for the individuals that could not be here, to be able to see the individuals and personalities and experience that expertise that we brought here. But what's been happening in these conversations and why they're so candid is because we've been putting people together from the same industry, from the same area, but they don't know each other. And they're holding resources in their own depositories, but they're not becoming so visible for everyone else to see them.
Right.
And so that's kind of the premise of what we do. We connect individuals to people and people to resources, and we try to have fun doing it. So we're just glad that you all joined us today. We want to have a quick 5 to 10 minute conversation, not to hold your time any longer than what it's already been. But we want to hear, of course, some of your experiences, some of the impact that you're making. We're going to appoint Eric, the moderator of this conversation, to make sure that he keeps it flowing and we don't have any dead air. But for the next 5 or 10 minutes, we just want you to share with each other what you don't know about each other and let our listeners know a little bit more about everything I just said.
My name is Donald Ferguson. I'm old. I actually retired from Ally in 2010. But in my spare time, what I do is I work with young men, a group that's called the 100 Black Men of Greater Detroit. And we have our Project Success program. That's where I was this morning. Now, being a part of Ally, my background is actually pretty nice, I think. Some of you know, I know Demetrius already knows this, but I went to an HBCU, undergraduate degrees in mathematics. Got a commission, served in the military as an Army Signal Corps officer. Came out and joined General Motors or Ally. Ally did a lot of great things for me. Sent me back to school, sent me to Duke Fuqua to get my business degree. Along the way, I ended up teaching at Harvard for 7 years because of Ally.
Nice.
And I was blessed to go to the White House and have a meal with both President Bush and President Barack Obama. I still do some things with Ally, which I love the company. Absolutely great.
Appreciate that. So hello everyone, Demetrius Scott. I have the honor of being a director of corporate citizenship with Ally Financial. And what that means is I manage all of our financial education efforts. So let's rewind and talk a little bit about how I got there. So born and raised here in the city of Detroit, so definitely eager to always be in front of the youth and individuals in my community to help uplift them in a variety of different ways. But went off to Michigan State where I received my master's and my undergrad degree in accounting and worked a number of years in accounting, both on the public side and on the private side. But I've always had a passion for giving back to my community, and the current role that I had at the time, it wasn't allowing me to give back to the community as much as I felt like I could through my accounting work. So I made a transition about 4.5 years ago to corporate philanthropy. So on a day-to-day basis, I'm in a community making sure that we're providing resources, tools, and opportunities to uplift individuals as it relates to economic mobility. And when we think about economic mobility, focus on 3 different areas. So financial education, which I run, affordable housing, and workforce preparedness. So everything that we're doing here today with the Power Tour, providing resources and opportunities for people to move up the economic ladder, which is usually measured in income, but it's other areas that focus in on economic mobility. So with the resources that we're here today providing, we're hoping that not only the youth, but the parents and professionals around the city of Detroit are able to take this information and really go to the next level as they move up the economic ladder. So super proud to be here, super proud to be on this panel with these great guys. I don't know how I got here, but I'm looking forward to having some conversations because you all are doing some amazing things. As Don said, it's funny where, you were an ally before I was even there, but now we're able to work together in this financial education space. So I look to you as a mentor in this space as I'm continuing to grow and put resources out to the community. But I'm going to pass it over to the man, Eric Thomas.
I am dramatically less interesting. It was way less degrees because I dropped out of college. So if you're watching it now, I am the previous chief storyteller for the city of Detroit. Left that job very recently, as of this weekend. Yeah. I am a brand strategist, a storyteller, a marketing strategist, a public speaker, a writer, a graphic designer, a web developer, and a social media strategist, and a bunch of other things. I do a bunch of things. I like to think of myself as a storyteller and creator.
You're not busy at all, are you?
I make stuff, man. I make stuff. I need the world to be full of beautiful things, and I need my community to show up in those works of beauty. I think that my job is to make sure that the world knows that Black joy is luxurious, but it doesn't have to be luxury, right?
Okay.
I love that.
And so I've been fortunate, right, to be appointed to a position like a chief storyteller for the city of Detroit, which is, the largest urban area of Black folks. I grew up in Detroit. I'm from Detroit. I've lived in Detroit my entire life, and so it was an incredible opportunity. And now I get to continue going out in the world and making things that are pretty, and to learn from people who are on the financial end, because I am an artist and I cannot do that. I don't know what that is. I spend money as fast as I make it, and I usually spend it on blazers. So, so here we are. But I guess since I have been appointed moderator and you guys got all the juice, I'm gonna jump over to Don because. All right, let's talk. Let's talk education, especially, listen, I'm a college dropout, so let's talk education and mobility, right? If you had to talk to a young person, my biggest problem with not going to school, the reason why I didn't go to college, is the idea of going just to get a degree never made sense to me. If you had to talk about why a young person should lean into education as a path for opportunity, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that you should have attended the oratorical contest that we had today for the 100 Black men, because the topic was college. Is it worth the investment? You see, years ago when I was coming up, if you didn't go to college, chances are you wouldn't get that job and make $84,000 more per year than the person who finished high school. But that's changed. That has changed. The trade school programs, the tech programs, and there's an opportunity for young men to go out and develop those sort of things. In fact, and Demetrius attended this session a short time ago, we did some app programming for our young men, taught them how to build apps. And the app that they completed was so good that Apple called us and said, hey, let's talk to you. Those young men should not go to college. They should not go to college. They should take the asset that they have and go. It's changed. So today, I'm not sure I would tell someone to go to college. The role I took was through the military. We didn't have any money. But by taking the military road and getting a scholarship and getting a commission, I went to college. I'm not sure the way is that door for college is the way to go today, if you have the other assets.
Yeah. One thing I would add to that, I know Nick didn't ask, but one thing I would add to that, because I feel very passionate about that. As you know, I mentor, I speak in front of the youth all the time, high school, college, elementary, all that. But one thing I've learned throughout my journey and why I do what I do right now and I don't feel like I work is finding that passion. Like, what is it that you really, really care about and that you would do for free? So this stuff that I'm doing now from a financial education standpoint, I'm going to do that wherever I'm at, I'm going to do that because I found the passion and I feel like that's my calling to be able to use my skill to give back to others. So originally when I went to college and when I started my career, I chased the money, right? I'm Detroit raised from Joy Road, lived in Detroit my whole life. So my thing was I want to go make this money so I can change my situation, right? But then I found myself not happy with what I was doing from a career perspective. So I always tell people, chase the passion. If that passion requires a college degree, then maybe that's what you have to do. But if that passion doesn't, give everything you love and care to that passion because the money is going to come, right? We all chase money, but when you realize and start understanding money and money management and things like that, you understand that the money is going to come if you're living in your purpose and if you're doing the right things and, being positive, putting a positive vibe out here. And I know you know a lot about that.
You're saying you don't want like a self-taught surgeon. If you want to be a surgeon, you should probably go to
right, exactly.
Get a little weird.
It requires that.
I've got a son, smart as all heck, had a full 4-year scholarship to U of M as an engineer.
Okay.
I like math. Mm-hmm. This guy was a whiz kid, speaks 3 languages, great guy. After his first year of college, he said, hey, Dad, guess what? I don't want to be an engineer. I know you think I can make more money as an engineer, but I want to be a teacher. So he changed from engineering to teaching, and U of M kept his scholarship.
Wow.
Okay? He finished college. When he finished U of M, He went to apply for, it was English literature, went to apply for a job. They had no openings in English, but his second language was Spanish. So he taught Spanish in Ypsilanti someplace. Chelsea. But the real reason they hired him was because he was a soccer coach. So there's different platforms we have to look at for our young people and chase those platforms.
As a person that takes storytelling way too seriously, I was chief storyteller. I'm a storyteller. My company's name was Saga. It's too much. But I do believe in the idea of internal and external narratives, right? The things that you tell yourself, the things that people believe about you, the things that you believe about the world around you, and the stories you consistently tell yourself. If you had to like reframe how somebody thought about the inner city neighborhoods, like the neighborhoods you grew up. I grew up on Joy Road too, right? What would you tell them that narrative actually is from your understanding of it?
That's a great question. So I would say from my perspective and my narrative is that in life you make out of it what you want, right? So when you set out to achieve a goal, it's going to be obstacles. So I'm not here to say, hey, you have a plan, the plan is going to go right the first time. It's going to be obstacles, but you got to use all the resources and tools around you as motivation. So me, I know people in my neighborhood that use that situation to say, I'm going to go do X, Y, and Z on the illegal side because that's all they saw, right? But for me, I use it as an opportunity to say, I saw what the illegal side led to, and I learned from that. So I took another route, right? So it's always a kind of a give and a take, or a A and a B, and you have to make that decision. And once you understand, all right, where you want to go, you have to not allow anything to stop you from getting there.
I always tell people kids rise to the aspiration of your expectations for them. It's a really interesting thing when you ask kids who they want to be from certain neighborhoods. Like they are like whoever they saw at the highest, the closest.
Yes.
But even if they watch on TV that other people are making it further, they don't necessarily aspire to that. Like it's just like that's fake.
You can't touch
all
it.
fiction.
You can't touch it. Yeah.
The motto of 100 Black Men is what they see is what they will be. And if you don't project and show them that, they're not going to become it. Now, I didn't grow up on Joy Road. I grew up in Virginia in the projects. So same
energy.
Same energy. But we had, and I had two parents, so nothing wrong with that, just like everybody else. But we had older men who did some things like the 100 is doing to help us grow. I got involved in the Boy Scouting, and that helped me begin to build some character. So I saw my scoutmaster, who was a teacher at a correction center, do some things. And not only did my parents instill, but they instill those things. So we got to make sure we have young people sharing their story with younger men so they can grow. If we forget that, I think we'll miss some things.
Can we talk about generational bridges? I just feel like the bridge between generations is really important. I saw somebody talking, there was an article that came out about why like Gen Z is a hard generation to work with. When you work generationally down, what are things that you're picking up and what are you trying to impart?
What I pick up from the young men that I work with is that I'm not the smartest cookie in the jar, and that they have a lot of assets that they can share with me. As an example, coming over here today, somebody turned my phone off and put it on airplane mode. So I got in the car to come over here, the phone didn't work. And after cursing myself out, I grabbed a 14-year-old guy and said, fix it. And he did. 2 seconds, just fix it. And he did. I think we're forgetting to give these young men and young people the opportunity to show what they can do. My guys are so resourceful. They can do anything. And I think older folks like me have to let them do it. We have to listen to them and learn from them. Because the words that I impart are sometimes kind of old. I got a couple of key words I tell them. One is, that dog don't hunt. You understand that? And the second is, let's go, guys, you're burning daylight. Now the young kids are saying that. Mr. Ferguson said you're burning daylight. But they understand it because I'm listening to him. So I think you bridge that gap when you put yourself out and you're fair, but that you also listen to them.
I was saying,
I
you guys are echoing through the same organization.
He hit the nail on the head, but I would say one thing is something I live by. When you start learning, you start growing, right?
There you go.
So whether it's someone older than you, someone younger than you, it's always something that you can take, right? So I've been raised and I've always been a sponge where it's information. I'm taking tidbits of everything, right? So I think about my career and the things that I'm doing from an entrepreneurial perspective and things like that of resources that I've always had in my toolbox. So throughout life, I was always putting tools in the toolbox. You never know when you're gonna need the flathead or the drill or the saw, right? But you're just taking all these different tools and you're putting them in the toolbox. And when needed, you bring those tools out. And I feel like those tools can come from older, younger, vertically, horizontal. I just think like you have to be a sponge. And the day that you stop learning or close yourself off to knowledge is the day you stop growing.
Right.